The Amazon driver asked me, "You live alone here, right, ma'am?" "No, my boyfriend just went out for orange juice," I lied, immediately regretting opening the door this wide. The guy clutched my package in his hands and kept looking past me into my apartment. "No boyfriend here, I think," he said, in a thick Indian accent that made my skin crawl. "Maybe you living with family? Parents?" I reached for my package, wanting to end this conversation any second, but he pulled it back. "My boyfriend will be back any minute now," I said louder, hoping this creepy dude would get the hint. The driver shook his head slowly, muttering something I couldn't understand. His eyes kept scanning my living room like he was memorizing it. I panicked, thinking he was about to lunge, slammed the door in his face, and turned the deadbolt. Look, I've seen enough TikToks about creepy delivery guys to know where this goes. But 15 minutes later, when I peeked through my blinds to check if he was gone, his white van was still there. When our eyes met through the window, I dropped to the floor and once again waited for him to leave. But then my phone lit up with a text from him saying, "Please come outside, need to talk important thing." I didn't reply, so he sent another text. "Get in delivery van, I show you something." I felt goosebumps all over my skin from how sketchy this guy was, and I almost wanted to call the cops. But then he texted again saying, "You not safe there alone. Please trust, very urgent matter." I took a deep breath and texted him back, telling him to leave immediately. I even threatened that if he didn't take his truck off my property, I would call the cops. But as I was typing, I suddenly heard footsteps in my bedroom. The thing is, I actually was home alone, so these footsteps could only belong to one person. I rushed to the kitchen, grabbed a knife, and slowly crept towards my bedroom. As I opened the door, I caught the driver climbing through my window while holding my package. "Ma'am, you left package outside," he called out in broken English. I pointed the knife right at his face and yelled, "Get out! Get out of my house, you creep, or else I'll stab you!" He raised his hands far above his hands and said he was just handing me my package. I didn't understand. Why would he break in just to deliver a package? Unless it wasn't really a package. Was there a bomb in it? Some kind of weapon? "Please, ma'am, you must listen to me. Very important." "I don't care!" I screamed again, hoping the neighbors would hear and call for help. "Take that package and leave my house through the same window you just crawled in from." His shoulders slumped and he pointed to the floor before saying, "You don't know what is under here." His voice was starting to get frantic and he was scaring me more and more with each passing second. "They living under. You must get out." I finally decided enough was enough. "I'm calling the police." But then I heard something that made me freeze completely. More footsteps. Not just his. Multiple sets of feet moving quickly, urgently, like people scrambling. But they weren't coming from my apartment. They sounded like they were coming from below. I ran as fast as I could to the guest room and locked the door behind me. Then I dialed 911 while barricading my door with my dresser. "There's a delivery driver invading my apartment," I whispered to the operator. But as I spoke, I looked out my bedroom window facing the backyard and my stomach dropped. My brain couldn't even process what I was seeing. A massive hatch I'd never noticed was wide open in my garden, looking like it had been hidden under fake grass. A man and woman were climbing out, carrying bags and two small kids. They ran south and scaled my fence in seconds like they'd done this before. "Ma'am, are you there?" the operator kept asking. I just stared at that hole in my yard. There were people, I whispered, underground. I stayed barricaded in my guest room until the cops arrived, but once they arrested the delivery driver, he asked for a translator and pointed them towards the backyard, telling them to dig down. Well, they did, and they found an entire apartment under my house. A furnished apartment with electricity stolen from my lines and plumbing tapped into mine. A family of 4 had been living there for months. The delivery driver explained everything. He had seen someone's face peek out from underground when he walked up to deliver my package. In his country, he'd seen this before. Squatters getting desperate, sometimes violent. He was trying to warn me, trying to get me out before something bad happened. She was in danger, he kept telling the cops. Very bad people sometimes. I tried to thank him properly, but he just shrugged and said in his broken English, "Is normal thing. Delivery drivers, we protect customers." Wait, since when?